everybody! So today I'm doing a special video where I am ranking my top 10 versions of Christmas Carol. I just love the story of Christmas Carol. I read it every year. I watch as many versions as I can. Last year on my blog for my holiday series, I did 35 different versions of Christmas Carol that I watched and reviewed. It was really fun. So you want to check out that. I'll put a link down to Scrooge Month. And let me know what you think of the different versions. And so these are my top 10. At number 10, I have Christmas Carol musical. And this was done in 2004, and it stars Kelsey Grammer as Scrooge. And this was made for TV, but it has some great music, some good music at least, by Alan Menken. I like Jesse L. Martin as the ghost of Christmas Present. He plays kind of an entertainer and an actor, and I really liked him. I just like his voice, and this whole thing is sung, and I always like that. And I just think that they make a few interesting choices. A backstory for Scrooge about the kind of works in Dickens' backstory about his father going to the debtor's prison, and that kind of being a worry of Dickens' life. And I like when they kind of flesh out the character a little bit. The makeup is really bad in this, and I think Jason Alexander is woefully miscast in this as Jacob Marley. But I still think it's solid and entertaining. Number 9, I have Disney's The Christmas Carol. And this is the version directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's motion capture animation. You had Jim Carrey playing most of the lead roles. You had Colin Firth and Gary Oldman in there, and I think they get a lot of the emotion of the story, especially the Cratchit scenes are really emotional, and this is one that is very accurate to the book. They get the sniveling, slimy, there's no sarcasm here. He's just a grumpy, awful old man. And so I really appreciate that. And they have scenes that you don't see in very many versions, like the lighthouse scene is in here, the flying over the city and seeing Christmas market, that's in there. There's too much of the sort of amusement park antics of flying through London and stuff, and some of the weird darker elements don't really work to me. Number 8, I have the Blackadder Christmas Carol. And this is definitely the most unconventional version of Christmas Carol. It actually subverts the narrative of Christmas Carol, and the 3 ghosts, I guess, are actually kind of convince the Blackadder to be bad. And it's so well written. This movie cracked me up. You've got some great talent. You've got Rowan Atkinson as the Blackadder. You have Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry, Jim Broadbent. The scenes with the Queen were hilarious. There's just so many. If you look at my review, I quote about 7 different lines that I thought were so funny. And yeah, it's completely ridiculous and over the top and silly, and it's very dry and sardonic. So if you like Monty Python, if you like that kind of thing, then you'll really like this. If you're looking for something different that'll make you laugh. Number 7, I have another unconventional version of Christmas Carol. I have the movie Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. And in this version, they basically make Scrooge the head of a television network or television station. And they are completely cynical, completely doing the most ridiculous things you've ever seen with Santa and the explosive aliens, like ridiculous at the beginning, is hilarious. And they decide to do this live broadcast of the Christmas Carol, and it's just so funny. And I think a lot of the humor comes from sort of the takes on and the satire about the media and how cynical it is. Some really good cameos throughout, especially on the different TV spots and different things that are really funny. And Bill Murray's really good. And I think it's definitely, as far as they're not real strict as far as the ghosts and the way that they do it. But I think it made me laugh. What can I say? Number 6, I have a version that maybe not many of you have seen. It's the Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. I'm not a really that well versed on Mr. Magoo. I've really not even seen another episode. This is the only thing I think I have seen. But I could see how some people might think the character was a little bit insensitive as far as people with visual impairment. But in this version, not a whole lot of antics with him. Like there's a car crash at the beginning, but other than that, it's not really a silly, kind of crash into things and fall on things and stuff like that. In the way, it's pretty much just a grumpy guy that's going through the Christmas story. They definitely take out some things. They definitely take liberties with things. But I think what makes this really good is the animation is really good. It definitely has a Hirschfeld kind of quality to it. And it just looks colorful and bright. And I really liked the animation. And then the music is wonderful by Julie Stein and Bob Merrill. And they're very solid songs. So I think this is a version you ought to check out. If you on my list is Mickey's Christmas Carol. And I actually had this higher up on my favorite holiday films because I just love Disney so much. But as far as the different Christmas Carol versions, this ended up at number 5. Just because they do cut out quite a bit and it is just a short. I wish that it was longer. But it's really solid and it's different, something different that Disney has ever done before, where they took their main characters, your Mickey, your Minnie, your Donald, your Scrooge, of course, and they have them playing a part. So it's not like Mickey stuck in the Christmas Carol. It's Mickey playing as if he was cast in an audition to play Bob Cratchit. And that's just really interesting and different. And it's really sweet. And I think all the voice casting is great. And it is definitely like scary for kids in that final section. So, definitely something to keep in mind, but I don't think too scary. I wouldn't say it's like Pinocchio scary, but it definitely has some scares. So, it's one I really enjoy, and I enjoyed as a kid, and I still really like it. Number 4, I have the Patrick Stewart TV movie version of Christmas Carol. And this movie is so well made. It looks like a really high quality episode of Downton Abbey or something like that. The costumes, the cinematography, everything like that is very, very, very well done. And Patrick Stewart, I think, is a classic, by the books, authentic Scrooge. This is not one that has a twinkle in his eye or, anything like that. This is kind of like the Jim Carrey Scrooge. He's conniving, he's sniveling, he's completely awful. And so I like that. I like that version. It also is really good about including stuff that not very many versions include. It has the lighthouse scene. It has, scenes that a lot of versions leave out, which I really appreciate. And it's very accurate by the book. And I think that Stewart is such a good actor that he really does bring something special to the table. Some of the other performances maybe aren't quite as good, but overall I think it's a really good version. And you should. Okay, next up I have the 1984 Christmas Carol starring George C. Scott. This is definitely a twinkle in the eye, sarcastic version of Christmas Carol with Scrooge. And George C. Scott not being the sniveling, conniving, like you get in the Patrick Stewart or the Disney one, but I really like that. I like both versions. I like all of the ghosts in this one. I think it's a really well written, solid adaptation. I'm not a big fan of the music in it. It feels very 80s, and also George C. Scott is definitely an American. They make no attempt to change his accent, which is a little bit weird, especially when you have him as a young man with a British accent. I don't know why they at least didn't do that, make that continuous, because it makes no sense. But those are nitpicks. It's a very, very good adaptation, and definitely one I recommend. Number 2 on my list is the Muppets Christmas Carol. This one obviously is not the most conventional version, but in a weird way it actually is. Obviously you have the Muppets, so that part of it's very unconventional. But if you were to just kind of take that aside and pretend that they're real actors, it's actually pretty faithful. As Gonzo playing Dickens narrating and has tons of the original text through the narrator. And you have Michael Caine as Scrooge, and I think he does a really good job. He definitely is the twinkle in his eye kind of version of Scrooge. He's not, I buy his transformation. I buy his heartfelt scenes, where he's really in agony. I think the music is really great. I love songs like One More Sleep Till Christmas and So I think it's I think it's the best Christmas Carol musical by far. I love Kermit and the Bookkeepers. I like Rizzo, in all of his scenes where he's trying to eat and he gets in all kinds of scrapes. It definitely does get a little bit scary towards the end, but you've got Statler and Waldorf who are hilarious. And, it's just, I just love it. I think it's a great version of Christmas Carol. My favorite all-time version of Christmas Carol is 1951 version starring Alistair Sim. This is a version that is definitely the best well-made of any version that I've seen, and cinematography is beautiful. The black and white, make sure you see it in the black and white. You've got shadow and light, and it just looks gorgeous. You have a great performance by Alistair Sims. It's definitely more of the Winky. He was actually a comedian, and so he brought sort of that sarcastic element of Scrooge out, which is not in the book, but I don't mind it. And I think that the ghosts are really good in this. I think that the ending is devastating, and you just get that sense of redemption. I love the way that they also dive into Scrooge's backstory in this one, about how he was basically betrayed by his mentor, and the lesson that he took from that was that is what you have to do to succeed in business. And to me, that was really, really good, because it makes sense. Of course he had people that betrayed him and that treated him badly, and of course he had experiences like that. And so to me, that really, really worked, and I liked the fleshing out of the character more. So overall, it is the best made, it's the best acted, and it has, I think, the best story of any of the versions of Christmas Carol. So you should see it, and let me know which one is your favorite. And if you get a chance to see one you haven't seen maybe on this list, let me know. I'd love to hear. So if you like Christmas Carol, let me know why too. So thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later.